Members, the coaches, and student athletes, please silence your cell phones at this time. Also, a reminder that recording press conference video on your cell phone is prohibited. We have 2 mic runners in the room. Please wait for the microphone to reach you before asking a question, and at that time, please provide your name and media affiliation. If you are joining us on Zoom, please use the raised hand function for questions. We'll take questions in the room first and then move to Zoom. Now joining us are members of the Troy Trojans, head coach Skylar Meade, student athletes Jimmy Janicki and Drew Nelson. Coach, we'll start with an opening statement from you.
Yeah, I mean, it was a heck of a college baseball game. Unfortunate to be on the wrong side, but you give all credit to West Virginia. You know, I kind of alluded to it at least the last couple of days as you asked. I mean, it's 2 programs that are absolute fighters, and that's really what that game was. It felt like a heavyweight bout, and you know, somebody unfortunately for us was going to win that game, and you know, obviously wish it had been on just an absolutely assaulted ball. Mr. Hall had hit a couple others pretty good, so unfortunately his softest one was the most impactful, as baseball tends to work out. But man, they were just, you know, one thing, they were just better than us on defense. You can't give freebies, you can't give the extra outs, and you know, they made some plays that, you know, end up, even for us, even if it didn't lead to a run, leads to extra pitches, and unfortunately out here in this park, in particular when the wind shifts as it did there in the 4th inning, you can't give up freebies. But heck of a job. I mean, our guys competed their tails off, especially these 2 guys next to me. But all credit to West Virginia. There's a reason that they were a host. There's a reason that they're out here with us as well.
Okay, we'll now open it up to questions for the student athletes.
LifeScottNickWorldBaseball.com. Jimmy and Drew, what was it that made Ian Corn so effective in the last 6 innings of the game?
You know, he was a big strike thrower. You know, he had good stuff, and I thought we competed our tails off, just like Meade said. But at the end of the day, he just had good pitches, good stuff.
Yeah, I saw every single one of his pitches. I think he had 5, and I saw all 5. So being able to mix and match and attack the strike zone like he did is that's how you succeed.
Noah Beanick, 11.7. Question for Drew. Their starter has been so pesky all year long, very good arm, and you got him out of there in the 3rd and had traffic on all game against him. The bottom of the order today, 6 hits, 3 RBI, and a couple of runs scored. Can you just talk about how you guys were able to string together a couple of rallies today?
Yeah, I credit Coach Walgamon a lot and Meade for the game plan we had going in, and then the bottom of the order, just sticking to it, you know. We were supposed to see it up, see it out, and I felt like that's exactly what we did. And we've done good recently chasing the starters, so, I mean, hopefully we can build on that and continue it later this week.
Go right in front here.
Aaron Fitt, D1 Baseball. Jimmy, Coach called this kind of a heavyweight, fight, and it seemed like early in the game they kept landing blows, and you guys immediately answered. What was it kind of like being in that fight and continuing to respond, and then just the back and forth, the feeling of that?
I mean, obviously it's a lot of fun, the atmosphere, playing against West Virginia. They're a good squad, just like Meade said. I think it all comes down to, they had that one big hit, that little chopper. I think that's just what it comes down to.
From the back?
For Jimmy, stolen home, the first inning, the steal of home, what was that like from your perspective? Were you thinking that was going to be a possibility?
Can you repeat that?
The stolen base, the stolen home?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I kind of just saw it get away and thought I could steal it back.
Mitch Davis, Show.com. Guys, you were in familiar position in the Sun Belt tournament, and you responded back and got all the way to the semifinal. What's the message to the team after you played an emotional game like this? What's the message to the rest of the guys?
I think all you can say is you got to come out ready to play tomorrow. We're going to give our best effort, and I got no doubt that our guys are going to do that.
Sarah Sims, WTVY from Dothan. You guys have come back after losing the first game in the regional. You kind of know what it's like to be the underdogs. Talk about what you're going to use from that game to prepare you guys for Sunday now.
You got it?
That one definitely stung a lot. We're going to come with a good game plan tomorrow. I'm not sure who we're facing, but just got to come out ready to play.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Take one more.
Yeah, for the guys, Mark Weiser, USA Today Sports. Was there any nerves first time in the College World Series, or was it kind of evened out because West Virginia was in the same boat?
Yeah, I'd say just embracing the opportunity. Not really nerves. this was our goal the whole year long. So being here is and accomplishing that, we were ready to take that punch to them and embrace the opportunity to compete and win and make a run.
Jimmy and Drew, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
See you, Buck.
Okay, we will now open it up to questions for Coach.
Peter Rodriguez from AL.com. The guys spoke to this a little bit earlier, but what did you see from them offensively in the first couple innings to, get some guys on base, get some early runs, and get their starter out of there earlier than they probably would have liked?
We don't say this after the fact. Of course, you're not going to publicize this. We just felt like it was a good matchup for us in terms of just the way our lineup's constructed, what our guys can do, their plan implementation. They talked about what Coach Ben does, and we just were able to put it in action. And so I think it also shows that the stage was not. We lost the game because West Virginia just made one more play or one more pitch or one more swing. When you can have a game plan that, if you sat on our bus when we were doing the scouting report, like, said this is exactly what we are going to do. Like, we knew we were going to do that. And that kid's awesome. I'm not disparaging him. He's awesome. There's a reason. I don't know. He might be an All-American based on his numbers, how good he is. But it's a good matchup for us. And sometimes baseball is a game of matchups. And so it shows our guys were prepared for it. Unfortunately, Korn, who had a tough regional there, he was able to bounce back. And there's a reason he's had a lot of success through the year, because he's been punched, right? But he stepped up and was his very best today.
Take one from the back.
Coach Bill Gleason from the West Virginia News. Talk about Zach being overshadowed a little bit. He came in and shut West Virginia down and put up a bunch of zeros that allowed you to hang in the game and come back and take the lead at one time. Talk about his performance.
I could not, A, be more proud of Zach. B, I know this is a room of media, but if that guy's not a top 10 or senior sign, I don't know what they look like. That kid, he can pitch in the big leagues, and he handled the moment and the game and the situation. And West Virginia is a very potent offense, and he goose-egged them for a while. They got a couple of those hits there in the 8th, of course, which eventually is going to happen. That being said, it was darn impressive to watch him. But that's what he's really done the last – I could be off on a game, but it's really been the last 40 games of the year. He turned a corner, and he's been as good a left-handed arm out of the bullpen as there is in college baseball.
Mitch Davis to MitchDavisShow.com. Coach, we talked a couple weeks ago after the Sun Belt tournament about the tenacity of your team and always being ready for the moment. Coach, just kind of talk about the message to the guys after you played an emotional game like this and come back out here and hopefully get out of the loser's bracket.
Well, as you can tell, they're already talking about tomorrow because they're just excited to think about what's next, even though we know that it's Sunday, right? I think that kind of, in a weird way, it's almost a subliminal, like, this is how our guys are, right? We talked about it in the dugout and said, hey, look, we have an opportunity to compete again on Sunday, and we know we're going to do that. Of course, we don't know opponent yet. And it does sound cliche, I'm well aware, but, like, whatever goes on Sunday, our guys are not scared, okay? They are not scared, and that's a huge part of maybe something that actually, I don't know, this isn't even the question, but, like, as a head coach, like, there's a lot of things you like. I do like home runs. I like velocity. All that's cool. But when you go, you know what? Our team will never be scared. That's a pretty cool thing to have said about it. And that's the players. You can message all you want and be confident and bravado-ish, as a coach and coach is. But when your team shows that every time that they compete, you can sit there and I ran into Coach Kingston, who I work for, and he used to say this about a player on our team. He's like, hey, I'm okay if we lose with him. And I'm not okay losing. I don't want my words misconstrued, but, like, when your guys fight at that level, you're not sitting there going, well, they had something in the tank. Our guys, they emptied the clip. Unfortunately, West Virginia was just a smidge better for us.
Noah Beanick, 11.7. Coach, in the regional press conference, one of them, you mentioned about pitching philosophy, that you may have to adjust it a little bit throughout the losers bracket, change a little bit of things that you've done throughout the year for a couple of specific games against Florida and Miami and Ryder. Can you draw from any of those experiences in that regional falling to the losers bracket immediately here in the College World Series?
I'll answer that two ways. that was a little bit in reference to some stylistic, like in-house things. So certain guys changing some ways that they're, doing things. I will not give a game plan, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what that means. But what I would derive from a who's available perspective, unfortunate he took the loss, but Zach stepping up there and being the only reliever we used. While you have the off day here in Omaha, we used 2 arms. There's 2 guys on our available roster that will not throw Sunday. So we know who they are. And we have ample amount of arms that should be ready to go. And, those guys, especially Zach, should be commended for that. But, yeah, there's some things that we've learned, but that's a little bit more like individual to individual when they're in that battle, how they're going to utilize their pitch repertoire in order to make them either continue to be successful or start to be more successful.
We have time for one more question.
Mark Etheridge, D1 Baseball. You mentioned your team is fearless out there. Could you go into that a little more, how that comes about to process so that regardless of the situation that they seem to fight?
It's a great question, first off, so I want to answer it properly. It's one of those things where when you start developing culture is like a program thing, and I utilize culture a lot. But like each year, you still have your own individualized identity, okay? And I would be disingenuous to say that, look, we all think we're smart, right? Of course I think I'm smart. Like I have to be, right? I can't be an idiot and try to lead a program. But you don't totally know what your guys are made of or how to make them what you hope they are day one. And I think with our guys, there was a learning curve. Look, we had a ton of new players. They're very talented, but sometimes when you're very talented, maybe you expect it to go easy, right? Like that, I think that's a fair thing that happens from time to time. And for us, we had to figure out how to push buttons within them to get them to be their best version. But then the biggest part of credit goes to the players to understand if we're challenging them, we're on them, we're pushing, nodding, prodding on them. Hey, this is why we're doing it. Because it means you're awesome, but we're not going to let you just be very good. We need you to be awesome. We need you to be great. We need you to be elite. And it took us some time to do that, but within all of that, fearless means you have an insane level of confidence, okay? Nobody that's fearless is shaking on the edge of the cliff before they jump, right? They're not. They're standing there going, I'm about to jump, and I don't care. And I think our guys, once they realize like how to do that individually and collectively, that's why we are where we are. It doesn't mean we win a national championship. It's the hardest thing to do in all of sports, especially our sport. But they've maximized their fearlessness and what's expected and asked in our culture. And for me, that's why I'm not going to sit here and enter that bus in a second and say, oh, man, so-and-so didn't get. No. Every person that traveled, every person that suited up today, they gave us exactly what we asked for. And to me, that's how you're fearless and you have an elite culture.
That marks the end of this press conference. Coach, we appreciate your time. Hammond Communications will post a recording of this